right, Rangers and Bruins recap. So the Rangers had a back-to-back against Boston, both games at Madison Square Garden. And the results were not great. The Rangers definitely are having major problems scoring goals. And this is a change from last season. So last season, really, they were one of the highest scoring teams in the league. And defensively, they had their issues. And I think in the 3-game series against Carolina in the playoffs, in the playoffs, things tighten up a bit. And that offense was being shut down. And I think they realized that they needed to become more defensively conscious. And the penalty kill has improved dramatically, and the power play has really gone down. It's been terrible lately. And they just have to find a way to balance things out. It's crazy how it's gone the other way. I still think that this team profiles as a very talented, offensive-minded team. And I'm happy about the fact that they have really cleaned up a lot of the mistakes. Guys aren't wide open in front as much anymore. And that's a step in the right direction. But it's been frustrating. And the Bruins are one of the best teams in the league. I think the Bruins are the best team in the East Division by a fairly decent amount. How would Boston do against some of the other best teams in the divisions? I'm not sure. But I think with Boston, they have such a good older core. Bergeron, Marchand, Pasternak, who's not older, but he's been around a decent bit now, and Tuukka Rask and Halak are a great goaltending combination. And just they're a defensively sound team. Really smart team overall. They don't make mistakes. And they only have one regulation loss all year, and that was to the Islanders in a game that I believe the Islanders won 1-0, and they scored with about maybe 3 minutes left. So the Bruins play close games, but they win them. And I think, let's talk about game one. So the Wednesday night game. Now, the Rangers at this point were coming off the 2-0 loss to the Islanders. And the Rangers came out pretty strong. Had a good first period, and they had a 1-0 lead. Julien Gauthier scores his first NHL goal. And I thought that Gauthier in both these Bruins games showed a lot. Didn't really get rewarded with the ice time. And I think, David Quinn's going to have to consider moving him up in the lineup a bit. But he's showing his speed, and definitely encouraging signs from Gauthier. But I think in both games, the second periods, certainly in the second game, the most recent one was a problem, and Boston kind of took it to them. And the tying goal for Boston in Wednesday's game by Chris Wagner was a turnover by Artemi Panarin. It was a short-handed goal, and Alex Georgiev was in net Wednesday, Shesterkin for tonight's game. And I think that with Panarin, he didn't look right. And eventually, it was known that he was hurt. So Panarin did not play at all in the third period 5-on-5. He did play on the power play. Clearly, it was a lower body injury. Maybe it looked like a groin injury. Not sure how it happened. But Panarin is out. Panarin is out. It's day-to-day. They're hoping that it's not going to be anything long-term. But this is a team that struggled scoring with Panarin. So, yeah. It's not great when he's not in the lineup. I mean, when he's not in there, they are certainly hurting in that department. So Bruins tied up. Again, bad play by Panarin, and Wagner scores the short-handed goal. Boston breaks the tie in the third on a goal by Anders Bjork. And Jacob Trouba just slips and falls in the corner, and Bjork goes in all alone and scores. But the Rangers would tie it up. Kevin Rooney would tie the game up after Anthony Boteto got into a fight. So these two games were pretty feisty, and there was a lot of fighting, and you could definitely feel the animosity between these two teams. So Rooney ties it up at 2, and that fourth line, Brendan Lemieux, who had 2 assists in that game, Kevin Rooney, and Julien Gauthier were really solid. Didn't play a whole lot, but were good. And so, mind you, Panarin's out. Rangers have had so many power play chances, and not only are they not scoring on these power plays, they're not doing anything with it. And Boston's just a terrible team to play. They have a great penalty kill, and they're great on faceoffs, and the Rangers are terrible on faceoffs. It's a bad combo. So the Rangers would lose this game in overtime, the Wednesday game, 3-2. on a breakaway goal by Brad Marchand after Pavel Buchnevich has a potential 2-on-1 with Adam Fox, and Buchnevich just waits and waits and waits and passes it, and Charlie McAvoy breaks it up, and Zibanejad goes in too deep, and Marchand's in all alone for the goal. Georgiev played a good game. He has struggled with breakaways. If you have a breakaway against Georgiev, you're not feeling too good that he's going to stop it. So the Rangers get 1 point there. Not a disaster, but a game that they definitely could have won. And I think in looking at these two games, the Rangers played better overall in that game. They did. And yeah, that was definitely a back and forth game. I mean, that was definitely could have went to anyone, but Boston gets the win. And so Friday's game, featured no Panarin. And the Rangers came out strong in the first period. So Lafreniere and Kakko were playing together with Reinstrom in the middle, and they were getting a lot of chances, especially in the first period. Lafreniere looked really good in the first, and Kakko really looks like a different player from last year. It's not showing on the score sheet, but he is just defensively way more sound. He's forcing so many turnovers, and it's leading to odd man rushes. You can feel it's going to come very soon where the goals are going to start pouring in. He really, is he the fastest skater? No, but that's improving too. So I love what I see from Kakko. So this was, a really well-played game by the Rangers in the first, but the second period, Boston definitely had the better of the play. And there was a bunch of penalties. The Rangers had to kill a lot of penalties. There were fights. Brett Lemieux and Trent Frederick. There was a big hit by Jacob Trouba, which, I think maybe shouldn't have been called as a penalty, but it was. And then him and McAvoy went at it a little bit. Pavel Buchnevich later in the period got into a fight with Jeremy Lauzon, and Lauzon got a 10-minute misconduct. So a lot going on, more than I had seen in any other Ranger game. There was definitely a lot of, like I said, hatred between these two teams. So I'm looking forward to the upcoming Rangers-Bruins games. Not so much for what the result will be, but what we'll actually watch within it. But Boston's one goal was by Nick Ritchie. Igor Shesterkin just wasn't quite tight enough with the post. There was a little opening, and Ritchie just kind of banged in his own rebound, and it squeaked through Shesterkin. So he played really well. Obviously, they lost 1-0. It wasn't his fault, but a goal that he'd like to have back, and it's the type of goals he's been giving up. Your traditional style, play, he's stopping almost everything, but the scrambly plays in front, the kind of weird goals he has been giving up. So you'd like to think that will go away, and his numbers are really improving. So I think, Shesterkin has really made it clear that he's the number one goalie. There's no question about that, but the Rangers really, in the third period, didn't do enough. And I think the microcosm of the season, they have a 6-on-4 with a minute left. And they couldn't even, first off, of course, they lose the face-off. And then once they get into the zone, mind you, they have two more players than Boston. They could not dig the puck out of the corner. They couldn't. They just, Boston just wanted it more, and Rangers just weren't strong enough to get it. They had no chance at all. Nothing. I mean, the power play, I think it's like 2 for its last 30. Something really bad. So the Rangers dropped to 4-6-3. And their goal differential is -3. The record is definitely worse than they've been playing. Really, because you have to give them credit for the fact that they are improved defensively. This almost feels like, honestly, a little bit, different sport, but with the Giants, where that defense, you can really see a major improvement where you didn't think it was going to come, but the offense kind of takes a step back, where it seemed like, okay, this probably isn't a playoff team, like either of them, but the offense should be really good. And so I'm happy about the fact that I think they're playing a much better structured game, but the lack of opportunities scoring-wise is a concern. And if Artemi Panarin is out for any length of time, yeah, that's going to be really bad. So they say it's day to day. It doesn't seem like it's going to be anything too long, but I have my doubts with, those groin injuries can be tricky. Here's the thing, though. We don't know when the Rangers' next game will be. So the Sunday game against the Flyers was postponed. The Flyers have a COVID issue. The Devils were scheduled to play the Devils on Tuesday, but it doesn't seem like they're really out of that one. They have like 17 guys still on the COVID list. And then they play the Flyers on Thursday. And like I said, the Flyers are still are, increasing on the COVID list. So it's possible the Rangers won't play for a week. It's possible they play on Tuesday. We don't know. And I think, honestly, it's probably better off if they don't play. Get Panarin as healthy as possible. And Rangers might actually be playing in Lake Tahoe next weekend. So that was supposed to be between the Flyers and the Bruins, but word is that the Rangers would be the backup if the Flyers can't play that game. So that's also in play. But, there's a lot of talk about firing David Quinn. I don't know where I fall on that one. I think, without really giving what I think should happen, if I had to guess what will happen, I think he makes it through the season. I think they would really have to struggle badly, and they haven't done that. Let's just call it as it is. Since they played that really bad game against the Islanders on night one, ever since then, they have really been in every single game. So this division is strong from top to bottom. I think everyone knew it. This is the best division of the four. It's a murderer's row schedule. It is. And the Rangers they are the youngest team in the league. They just don't quite have that winning ability yet. They don't. And when Mika Zibanejad is playing as poorly as he is, that is going to lead to not getting points. Now, Zibanejad Wednesday night, it was the best game he's played all season. Friday night, though, not great. Didn't do a whole lot. And I think he was going up against the Bergeron line a lot, and that's maybe the best, if not, it's one of the best, if not the best line in the National Hockey League. So, again, it's not going to be easy, but he has 1 goal in 13 games. After getting 41 goals in less than 60 games last year. The most goals per game, and with playing at least 50 games. I mean, he was on fire. And Chris Kreider also. Chris Kreider has 4 goals, I believe, no assists. And there's just none in that. He is too inconsistent. He's invisible too often. We've seen this for years as Rangers fans. For years. And he'll probably go on his streak at some point. But there's no level of consistency with him. And I'm going to definitely sound like a broken record on this. But, I mean, that extension, just not a good one. And I know you need some leaders, quote unquote, and to me, he is not captain material. I'm sorry. You want to give him an A, that's fine. He's not a captain. Just isn't. And, the Jacob Trouba contract, that is already looking like it's going to be a problem. So, again, those Kreider and Trouba contracts, not great. And it's just those guys, right? I think, the Panarin one, you do that every time. I mean, even this year, I think he has like 15 points and, 11 or 12. I mean, obviously he kind of like played half of the Boston game. Like, so he still finds a way to put up the points, really, with playing with Ryan Strome as a center. It's impressive. So I have no problem with that, but really they're going to need the young core to really take over. And Adam Fox has been the Rangers' best player all year long by far. Not even close. You wanted to start seeing some points from, Lafreniere, Kakko, and I think it's going to come. It's certainly disappointing, obviously, but I do think that there are encouraging signs there. And like I said, I think I like what I see more from the young kids than I do from the vets. The vets have not come through. Pavel Buchnevich, who got off to a really hot start, he's starting to, decline. He's just not that. He's another one of those guys, kind of like Kreider, just not really consistent. A solid second line guy, maybe really ideally on a good team, a third line player. So certain players are probably playing above where they should be. And this is all part of the rebuild. So I think fans can't be too, I mean, you can be upset, but I think that this isn't terribly unexpected. This is the hard times that they're going to have to learn and grow. But I think the key is you want to see the young kids develop. So I am all for giving the Kakkos, the Lafrenieres, Miller, Gauthier, whoever it may be, Lindgren, Fox, all these guys, as much playing time. And you hope that they can stay in the race as long as they possibly can. It won't be easy, but it's just been such a weird year anyway with cancellations. And, you have the Devils and I guess the Sabres, who haven't even played since late January. So we're going to see, what happens coming up here. But I think you sense that fans are frustrated, and I get that. I totally do. But I think if you were thinking about this logically going to the season, sure. I think talk about the playoffs is fair, but if I had to have made my predictions before the season, looking at this division, the Rangers wouldn't be a playoff team. Just plain and simple. I think I probably would have slotted them around 6th. I think I would probably have had them finishing ahead of the Sabres and the Devils. And yeah, I honestly, I think that they might finish around 6th. That would be my guess. But you want to see them fully healthy. Obviously, Philip Hedl going down did not help matters at all with an already thin center situation. Brett Howden is not even anywhere near a third-line center. He's at most a fourth-line center. That's it. That's really it. The guy has certainly, for the little offense that he showed as a rookie, that's gone now. He's simply a penalty killer, and there's use for that. There is, but that's all he is. And I think that there's no reason for fans to completely freak out. But it is funny. They actually, from a point percentage perspective, they actually had the 4th worst record in the NHL. But that is very misleading. Like I said, -3 goal differential. They are really in every game. Boston legitimately is one of the best teams in the league. So I think you're going to see ups and downs with this team. And you just hope that when the goal scoring comes back, that this good structured defense is still in play. Because I feel like I feel like in getting to this good defense, they sacrifice some offense. So hopefully when they get that back, they can, keep that sound play, because it's definitely been noticed. And I think Jacques Martin has really helped in that area. I think, Lindy Ruff, fans didn't love him. And, so far with the Devils, he seems like he's been pretty good so far. But I think Martin has definitely done a good job with the group. And, certainly the penalty kill looks vastly improved. So definitely we'll see what happens. I don't know when we'll be speaking next. Hopefully soon, but that really depends on what happens with these potential games next week. But, definitely looking forward to when they play next. Maybe it'll be in Lake Tahoe. We'll see. I'll talk to you soon.